Welcome back, Diary Gang. Diary Gang. So bad. Please edit that out. Welcome to Behind the Diary. Here's what's gonna happen this week. I'm starting out in London.
But when you see the show tomorrow, you should come backstage.
Busta Rhymes.
Then I've got a flight that I'm unsure if I'm gonna make, and I'm going over to Paris. I'm having an interview in Paris, in a hotel. Long story, you'll see.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Nice to meet you, bro. Hey, nice to meet you, Steve.
Then I'm gonna try and get a motorcycle. This is my pit drawing of a motorcycle.
No, I'm not fucking around. I'm like, that is the single biggest risk I've ever taken.
In time to fly to South Africa. Oh, spelled Africa wrong, that's embarrassing. Corrected it.
Work hard, play hard.
Beautiful.
And then from South Africa, I'm gonna fly to New York City. And there's one question that I want to answer for everybody that's watching this episode, which I get asked a lot in the comment section. And by the way, we read all of the comments. And the question is, how do you be productive without burning yourself out? Without getting stressed, overwhelmed by the pressure of your calendar? So I'm going to try and give you some advice this week, a side of me that I don't often show. Okay, quick one. We've got Busta Rhymes on his way here, but before that, I'm having a meeting with my team. I've got an idea that I've been thinking about for some time. When these videos go live onto the internet, on YouTube, etc., onto platforms, you get a ton of data after the fact. And that data is really interesting because it tells you what part of this video you're watching now was interesting. And it looks something like this. So my hypothesis has always been, what if we could get that data before we publish the video onto the platforms? Imagine how much that could inform the edit, how we package the episode, how we market the episode, and everything in between. And the key thing on a lot of the social media platforms is the longer someone looks at the content, which on some platforms they call dwell time, but on YouTube they call retention, the more people the platform will recommend that content to. So I'm gonna have a meeting with the team about that because we've been mulling over how we bring this to life and to get groups of people to watch our content before it goes out. But my point is it useful?
Yes, if we get that ahead of time,
Yeah.
then what it would do, the bare minimum which would be helpful, is find out where like the 3 biggest peaks, and we can construct a narrative around that.
Yeah, and then trailers around it.
Yeah.
We're just discussing this pre-watching. It's going to kind of change our whole editing process. So I was just saying, do you think we should dictate or inform the edit?
I think this is your job as editors to figure out how you maneuver that. Well, I was speaking to Anne earlier, and I was saying in this particular pre-watch, and there might be more results since I said this, but anything above 5 clicks is statistically significant to me. Yeah. And there's only 4 moments above 5 clicks. Do you then cut out big chunks where no one clicks? This is where your decision comes in.
I mean, it's good because usually it's just me and Berta deciding.
Yeah.
And now we've got 100 other people's opinions.
Interesting. Cool, exciting. You feeling good?
Now I'm good.
Yeah, good. Heard you left, you finished up at 2 a.m. last night.
Huh?
You finished up at 2 a.m. last night?
The show?
The show?
Yeah, we just got on the road at 2 a.m.
Oh, shit. Wow.
It's the longest tour I ever did in my whole career. So in 33 years, I've never been on a tour for 5 months. But backstage, the vibe is just phenomenal. But when you see the show tomorrow, because I could give you the backstage experience, right? Mm-hmm. We should probably link up after. Mm-hmm. You should come backstage because we're gonna have like a nice little celebration because it's our last show. Mm-hmm. But
thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow night. Looking forward
forward to it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Ken, brother. Thanks again. Niceness. This was dope.
Gosh, production team have got a job there.
Oh, it's too many good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a cool bit where it goes, it's getting serious, I'm gonna need some water.
But there's a way that he speaks which just naturally is just so. And then you hear my voice, my little British voice slithering there. So tell me about that.
Can I just say, like with your podcast, I really love how you've kept to your promise.
Would you please hit the subscribe button and I will repay that gesture by making sure that everything we do here gets better and better and better and better. That is a promise I'm willing to make you. Do we have a deal?
About making it, you subscribe and I'll make it bigger, better with the guests, because it's literally just, it's just insane.
Thanks to the team. Imagine the challenge of having to raise a high bar that you set. That's what they have to do. You know what I mean? He wants to raise an already fucking high bar that they set themselves. It's like self-sabotage. I think everyone across all teams, including like with the trailers, the editing team, I think the production team, the research team, everyone's raising a high bar that they set. Okay, I'm a little bit late. We've got the Busta Rhymes gig tonight, and now I'm gonna tell you what I mean by planned pleasure. Come with me. If left to my own devices, I would have no free time. I would be a slave to my to-do list and my inbox. So I have to plan my pleasure. And I have to ensure that I'm not measuring the return using any of the measures I use for my productivity. Because if I do, it won't be guilt-free. There is no point in your pleasure time. It's as long or as short as it needs to be, which means you may just lay on the sofa. You may go for a walk, Netflix, video games, or maybe even a Busta Rhymes and 50 Cent concert.
Oh, thank you for everything. Absolutely. Come on, brother.
Your album, but coming for an interview as well. So
Thank you. When is the interview coming? Monday. No, take my number and send me the whole shit. So I'm grateful the way it played out, but you nurtured the conversation in a way that made me feel super comfortable with revisiting some of those dark places, and I'm just happy that you just was delicate with each situation, with how you brought up, how you went into the conversations, how you warmed me up before we got to the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't just fucking go to the fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you took it there in a nice pace, and by the time we got there, I was already in the zone.
Can I ask you, how do you feel afterwards? Because you probably would have said no if you'd known, but after?
That's what I'm saying. I'm grateful that I wasn't told what it was in advance for me to say no. Because when it was done, it also felt like another therapeutic moment. The beautiful shit about the way you did it was it allowed me to go there and lead up to how I transitioned from that to get to the amazing space that I'm at now. It's just the way you connected the dots in the whole interview. It's well done.
Thank you, brother.
Well done. Well done.
Just leaving the 50 Cent Busta Rhymes gig here at the O2 in London. My ears are ringing like crazy, but it was a crazy, crazy good night. Brought me back to my childhood. I knew every word of every song, which was crazy, kind of embarrassing. Really surreal night. You know, like Busta Rhymes and 50 Cent are people that I was listening to on my MP3 player when I was like 12 years old. So to just be in their presence and to, especially what Busta said at the end there, it's so surreal that my brain can't comprehend it. Okay, point number 2, when you're trying to reduce your stress and avoid burnout, is honestly, and I know this sounds a little bit cliche, it's talking. There's so much studies and research that show that just by talking to someone about your problems and the stress you're feeling and the pressure that's on you and the angst you're feeling is a way to make it dissipate and dissolve. I found that in my own life because being a CEO and having my podcast and doing all the things that I do in my life can often be quite lonely. And I don't mean lonely in the context of being alone, but lonely in the sense that very few people will understand what you're going through. And I know there's people out there listening to this right now, but in your circle, you're the only one that can truly relate to what you're going through. And this is what makes you feel lonely and isolated. So in my life, even though I know there's not many people that will truly understand, and there's not always an available ear, I do my very, very best to find those friends, often my girlfriend and my best friends that I've had for more than a decade, where I can just use them as an outlet to express and to let some of that air out of that balloon. This is critical.
I can guarantee you that our next speaker is going to be the most riveting. Please welcome Stephen Bartlett.
Honestly, the best message I ever sent to my team, and one of them is sat, well, two of them is sat, three of them is sat here, the best message, they'll tell you if I'm lying, was the message when I said, we are an in-office company. Because it came with an explanation based on first principles, not Stephen's vibes, based on first principles that acknowledged both sides of the spectrum. Some of your best work will be done on the beach or in a coffee shop. And we also believe in in-person collaboration and connection for all these reasons. And it was the explanation that I see missing so much when people build their company culture. Thank you so much.
Jack.
I'm well, pleasure. How are you?
My name is Stephen. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being here.
I'd get up.
Appreciate it. No, it's all good. Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
Great, that was very well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
That's in your back pocket.
I'm ready to feel my love. Have I got my passport?
Hello.
So today we got the privilege to welcome one of the best pianists in the world, Katja Bunyachichvili, the World Cup champion Thierry Henry, the talented businessman Stephen Bartlett, and to finish, the MMA champion Francis Ngannou.
Okay, I'm halfway through the recording here in Paris. We've got Thierry Henry, Francis Ngannou, so many incredible people out there, some of my idols. And I wanted to talk to you about point 3 and how to avoid burnout and stress. And I think there's a lot of research that substantiates the fact that the amount of meaning you have in your work, the amount of fulfillment it gives you, how it's intrinsically aligned to your passions, will correlate to whether you are at risk of burnout or not. And there are a couple of studies that they've done with social workers in particular that show if you don't think your work is meaningful, you are much more likely to experience the stress of the work and to ultimately result in what they call burnout. For me, although my day is incredibly busy on days like today and I'm rushing around Paris and flying in from London and then I'm off on a plane to Johannesburg and it's absolutely crazy, the thing that softens the blow psychologically is that I'm doing work that I really, really love. And this is a privilege that not everybody has. For the last 10 years, I've been allowed and able to do work that I consider my fun. And I say this as a privilege because I've not always had this privilege. I spent many years working in call centers for Everest, for late rooms, for Swinton car insurance. And I know what work feels like when it's not meaningful. I know the difference. And I can honestly say the amount of meaning in your work, how much it's truly intrinsically aligned to what you love and your passions, will correlate to your chance of getting burnt out while you're doing it. How am I getting the bike?
Yeah, you have to get the bike. That's the only option.
That bike is terrifying.
Was it really?
He has no... He will go so fast at a gap like this big, like the confit. And you just see him flick his wind mirror in because he knows if he doesn't flick it in, he's going to crash. You sure I don't have time to get a taxi?
How was that? This is the greatest risk I've ever taken in my life. Like all the businesses I've started, dropping out of university. No, I'm not fucking around. I'm like, that is the single biggest risk I've ever taken. What it is fucking. went through the 7 steps of grief. I just arrived at acceptance. I was like,
in the airport here in Paddy, crazy day, crazy 24 hours. My Whoop isn't great. My Whoop is not telling me that I should be exerting myself. And my HRV is the worst it's ever been.
Where you at?
40. On the way to Johannesburg, doing a talk out there, which I'm excited about. Never been to South Africa. Not felt Africa in many years, so looking forward to it. Big talk out there, lots of fun, and fly to New York. Busy. Do it. Okay, point 4 as it relates to stress and burnout. Fourth most important thing. This is probably the most important thing of all. But being a Whoop ambassador, they sponsor me, and I'm an investor in the company. I came to learn about the importance of sleep. And I know sleep isn't easy for everybody. I've got a brother that has, he's a year older than me, and he has 3 kids under the age of 6. And I've spent a lot of time with him and his family. So I know that sleep, for many people, is a nice to have. It's not a must have, and it's not something that they can control. But here's what I've learned. There's huge correlations in my ability to handle and manage stress on days when I'm unslept. So a couple of years ago, I think it was about a year ago, I said to my assistant who schedules my diary, I want to make sure that I have no meetings before 11 a.m. where possible. And I think there's a misconception that's followed me for the last about 10 years since I've been making content and been on the internet, which is that I can't possibly be sleeping, that my calendar is so stacked that I must be sacrificing sleep. And I think it's important to say that this is a massive misconception. I see sleep as one of my absolute unnegotiable foundations and pillars, and I pretty much don't set an alarm. There's some days where I have no choice because we're flying early or something, but on a typical day, I don't set an alarm. It's a privilege, I admit, I put my hands up, not everybody can do that, so it's not advice. And the upside of that, you don't need to cut your sleep. You need to increase your sleep, because that will allow me to be more effective in those 10 hours that I am at work than I would have been if I'd had 4 hours sleep and tried to work for 16 or 17 or whatever it might be. Trust me, sleep, according to both my anecdotal experience and all of these incredible guests that have been on my podcast, is the first place to look. Winner. No, that's a bit lame. Let me do that again. Winner, chicken dinner. In last week's episode of the Behind the Diary, we did a competition. The question was, what is my favorite color? And my favorite color, as you probably know, is black. Of course. I mean, if that was any surprise to any of you, then I'd be shocked. And the winner was a wonderful young lady called Stephanie. So Stephanie, you're going to be coming behind the diary and hanging out with us. So let's do another competition then. William, the cameraman, is stood in front of me right now, and he's wearing a certain color top. If anyone can guess what color top he's wearing, and I'll be honest, it's not black and it's not white, I'll tell you that much. It's not blue or red. If you can guess what color he's wearing, I'm gonna grab the camera now and spin it round. And if you get it, he's like doing his haircut, so this is gonna be on the vlog. If you can guess what color William's wearing, then you'll come behind the diary as well. So.
You know you're getting old when the people you admire are getting younger and younger.
Our expectations are crafted by the context that we're in. I think this is why you've got to ask yourself on a daily basis and a weekly basis a very simple question, which is like, how do I feel? I think we're all born with this compass, but I think many people are very bad at tuning into that because we're trying to meet the expectations of someone else or something else. And that question, how do I feel? And then your ability to act on that, the answer to that question, I think is the thing that will keep you on track to whatever your destiny is. If you're not very good at listening to that voice inside, which is there for all of us, but we're very good at stifling, you'll probably end up somewhere that you don't recognize and don't belong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Bartlett.
Thank you. Number 5, the thing that everyone no matter what industry you work in, needs to install into your life is what I call the Ripcord. And the emergency needle in the balloon when everything gets on top of you. For me, my Ripcord looks something like, I feel that I've not taken a break in a while. I start to feel it in my mind. I start to feel it in my body. I'm underslept and my schedule is relentless. And my Ripcord is essentially a text message that I'll send to my PA and tell her, very simply, cancel everything. I need to pull the plug regardless of what money is on the table or what opportunities or what commitments I have. I need to pull the plug and I need to go into self-defense so that I can sustain my pace and consistency as a professional and as a leader over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. And sometimes we're a little bit too worried about letting people down. And in the process of trying not to let anyone else down, we end up letting ourselves down. Some days, once in a while, I'd say probably every 3 months, I turn to my assistant and I say, listen, I can't. That's me done. So please cancel everything and I'll be back tomorrow. And if I want to be able to perform over the long term, which is very much my objective, if I want to perform for my team, then I have to defend that first priority at all costs. And that's what the Ripcord is in my life. A pin in the balloon. Going to a safari to see the lions. Now we're going on the hot air balloon. You can use that as a pickup. Now we're going to see the lions in the safari. We're in South Africa, Johannesburg.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. It needs no work.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God.
Will! You're under arrest. Who are you working for?